There's no sound, Nicole. Nicole, there's no sound.
All right. There was something. Good morning. Good morning. There was something I was trying to work out with Zoom. Thank you, friends. Zoom would not allow me to pick my screen and add sound. So how bizarre is that? Let me know. Are you guys finding that the bots are just decided it's 2026? And I know I was kind of joking, but not really, and said, hey, this is the year to step up because AI is going to go crazy and just take over the world. And it did. Because, and I think I'm getting spanked for that. I don't know about you guys, but that's the funny thing is Zoom has changed, wouldn't let me live stream this morning. There was some other weird update. And then, you know what? I don't know about you, but it also, um, wasn't allowing me to share properly. So, hey, those tools and tech and things that we're working on. All right, all right. Well, good morning, folks. Good morning, folks. How are you? Are we going live now? Are you seeing that, Colleen, now?
I am seeing it live. I am.
Sure. Yeah. Zoom took over the world and said, and took over all my controls and said, hey, we are not going to let you share which screen you're using and designate the screen. And we're not going to allow you to use sound either. So how funny is that? But I could sure hear Colleen.
Oh, that's good. You hear me saying you have no sound, Nicole.
I know, I could hear you. And so did the world. Hey, this is real talk. This is real time, folks. This is really what happens. Do you want somebody that's going to take the lead and step up and say, hey, we're going to find a way to make this work, right? That's what we're here to do as professionals. We're going to step up and say, hey, we're going to learn what's going on with this tech because they're not letting us know. It's super secret what's going on and what's happening. So crazy, crazy stuff. We're glad you're here. We'll put the links. We've got a lot of the author The Plot Twist author event is coming up in April, so there are speaker spots open for that. And you guys want to check, well, I'll put the information in the chat, but you're going to also want to check this out because we got spoken word on there. You can read a chapter, you can have a gathering, there's panel, there's fireside chat, which is all encompassing. We've got some interesting speakers coming in here, doing some spoken word and just really talking about their book, or the reason that they got to their book or their story. They can, come in and read a chapter. You're a speaker. There's a stage for you if you're a speaker author. Book signings are a little bit hard for people to coordinate. And the other thing is, hey, great, your book went to number one, but what do you do now? Are you reaching out to your audience? And there are a lot more people that aren't going outside. And so whatever the is, and whatever the reason is for that, we're going to make this possible virtually. We're going to also have publishers, people who put anthologies together, people who illustrate book jackets. Colleen's going to be on there. She's got her systems, and we're going to talk about a little bit more tips and tricks today. I'm going to be on there, and I'm doing something this year. I'm going to give you a little sneak peek, and I'll share that also. Is I'm going to do a little bit of Audible for my authors, my speakers, my coaches, a little bit of Audible package and a way that you can read a chapter, right? You can read a chapter and you can release those chapters to people. It's going to be amazing. It's something new that I'm offering. I love this. And I'm going to start to release that. I've done it a few years ago. It was a success. I want to bring it back. So some interesting things coming up. And one last thing before we get to doing it. If you're a Voice Lab member and you get the Voice Lab membership, you get to be a speaker on the stage if this marries with you, if it's an aligned stage for you, and these are the aligned audience. You can come in, you can get on Brew and Stew, you can get on Monday Morning Business Foreplay, you can get on the Pain Point podcast. There's a lot of visibility going on, and we'll talk about leads. So let's get to it. What do you got today coming into this, Colleen?
Nicole, when we started, I don't know, years ago when you would come online, you would come on a little bit early to greet your guests to make sure that you were like in the green room together and chit chat for a minute before you came on. And I think after the last 2 days, this is the second day in a row that I've had a whole new Zoom setup when I open Zoom. So I think the thing in 2026 is going to be to come in and get familiar with your room first, because you and I were on and we logged out of Zoom and came back in Zoom. And since then, my header bar completely changed again.
Podcast, there's a lot of visibility going on. Absolutely. It is changed. So we couldn't find a live stream button. There was no share button. So stuff is there. So, just knowing that when you're going live, there's going to be some tech issues, whether you're early or not, right? So we come in usually 10 to 15 minutes early, looking for stuff, getting stuff coordinated, even though it's up and ready to go for the day. You're going to get a wrench thrown in that, right?
For fun. Yeah, right. Yeah. So today, what are we talking about today? I think we are talking about following up, right?
Yeah.
Following up's kind of a big one. It's a part that I think makes entrepreneurs nervous. I think for many reasons. I think just not remembering necessarily to do it is one, obviously. But then also, what do you say in the follow-up, right? And what's the importance of that? If people understood the importance of the follow-up, then the rest of it would all come into play. And I think that in your business, part of the reason that it's so important to know your business so well and to talk about it so often, so loudly, so clearly, is because it's easy to pick up. It's easy to keep going in the conversation. It's easy to carry that conversation into your follow-up, which is so important. And so your follow-up is that we're not talking about just after summits. Clearly, Nicole does the summits, and so we're talking about after the summits, yes. But it's the follow-up after you meet a new prospect. It's a follow-up after you meet somebody who would be a good referral partner. It's a follow-up when it's somebody that isn't going to be a prospect or necessarily a referral partner, but maybe it's just somebody that you want to connect to somebody else. You want to help them out a little bit down the road that way, right? Or maybe it's a follow-up when somebody just steps into your world, right? But regardless of what it is, the follow up is where it's at because you're still fresh on their mind. And so I have my windows open. Excuse my hair. Um, you're still fresh on their mind. And so when you're talking follow up, it's like, hey, thanks for meeting with me, first of all, because everybody's time is valuable, right? So we always start with that part. And then follow up exactly like take notes during your conversation, during your meeting. Use your note taker, your Fathom, whatever you have. Go back over those, answer any specific questions, follow through on your promises that you said you would deliver, right? Those are things that we're doing in our follow up, and they don't all have to be done at once either. And then what about time wise? Like, how soon should we do that? I feel like really, I want to say 72 hours ish, maybe a little, maybe 96, 3 to 4 days follow up. Lets them know, uh, keep really helps them keep you top of mind, but lets them know that they are top of mind for you. And so for me, when I look at my schedule, I do most of my meetings and one-on-ones and things like that on Monday and Tuesday. And then I have networking that I do Wednesdays, Thursdays, and then Fridays, I turn around and do follow up on everybody. And so I go back through and do follow up. Some of these are simple ones that are automated, but some of them, the more important ones, hot prospects or people that are going to be great referral
Oh,
partners.
wait, let me stop you there. So you follow up, you mean the people that you're doing one-to-one calls with?
I
You
do.
follow up, okay, so you follow up with not just like after an event and say hello, but you make sure that you follow up. I mean, I do. I think that's great to say is I love that to make sure that you're out that you're getting out there and doing that outreach.
Yeah. Yeah. It's just a simple, hey, thanks for your time. Because how many times do you have people that don't show up or they show up and they're, half there, but you know that they took the effort. And so it's just a courtesy, of saying, hey, thanks for meeting with me. Just to recap on what we talked about, or here's that person's contact information, or however that looks, whatever your, excuse me, whatever your conversation looked like, right? But yeah, follow up after your one-on-ones. And so the end of the week, and some of those people, my follow-ups personally, I do have some that just start with a trigger. And so maybe I just go in and put, trying to think of one of my trigger words. Maybe I just go in and put prospect, tag them as a prospect, right? And so then they go into the prospect follow-up, right? Where they're going to get emails that are in a nurture sequence and all of those things. That's a little bit different follow-up, but it still falls under follow-up. Um, if it's people that are referral partners, then it's a personalized follow-up that they get from me. And that's a personal choice you make. Like, how do you want to follow up? Do you want to just send one that says, hey, thanks for meeting with me. I'm so glad we finally connected. Let's schedule another follow-up call or circle back call in 30 days. I mean, it could be something like that that's as generic as that and that is automated if you want to. I like to reach back out at least that first time and make sure that it's a, hey, thanks for meeting with me. These are the things we went over. This is just kind of a recap of your meeting, right? And then fulfill any promises that you made. So any deliverables, whether it was sending a PDF or making a connection for somebody or an invitation to something, whatever that looks like, right?
Right. So you have that automatically saved and ready to go. I love that because I think it's important. And I didn't realize that early on. Like nobody really said like, "Hey, let's break this down and really simplify how this works." You've got to engage old school people who have done business, people who have networked years ago, and somebody coming from 20 years of business of working in kind of like a more corporate employment structure where we don't do follow up. We just went out there, we went to work, we did our thing, right? We talked to people publicly. Oh, somebody's got to talk to them tomorrow. That was part of if that was part of the host from the casino, or that was part of somebody in the gamer club card, right? If you put your card in and you get those rewards members, right?
Right.
So those people followed up. So I didn't understand. It wasn't that I was afraid to do, but I didn't understand how easy it was to go, hey, great call. And I do that. And I just reach right out to people after the call and I say, here's a little something on the call. Thanks for the call. Come back. I'd love to see you at the networking because hey, maybe these people didn't fit to collaborate with. Maybe they we don't know yet where they work in our world. And that's good to follow up. Do you do, because I know for speaking for events, this is, uh, you get the leads, you do the trigger 24 hours after, thanks for the event, right? Thanks for coming to the event and just letting people know. I just like anybody that signed up, they're going to get it whether they showed up or not because maybe they have forgotten or couldn't go to the event and then they can be a VIP or get the free gift. It's like, hey, I sent a specific free gift out, a lead magnet to these for this event. I want to share it with you because you didn't get a chance to come. So come back and
Right.
get the lead magnet or they can VIP. And the VIP, you guys, nobody wants to watch a video. La 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 la. You can watch a video. You might not watch it today, you might watch it later. But the speakers should watch the video because they want the speaker real. And the other thing is that a lot of speakers give one-to-one calls away or they give a wonderful VIP away that
Yeah.
you don't get on a call with them or you can't get on a call with them less than $100 and you got to put cash into a call with these people because they've got higher ticket coaching clients. But
Right.
today they're given a group call away. Today they're given a workshop today, and you may have missed it. For 40 bucks, you get all their cool juicy info that you would have to have a couple $1,000s to get into and a lot of time. But you get this today. That's the value stack in there. And this is the reason you want to follow up. And this is the reason when you're reading those emails going, well, I don't need this. But don't forget all the cool stuff that's in there. You're not just getting the video, you're getting all the content.
Right. And I think too
Yeah.
that, on mine, I do value stack mine. And one of the things that I like to give away is $100 off my monthly subscription. So on top of the one-on-one call, then I also do $100 off the monthly subscription. That's $1,200 a year. That's a good little giveaway there,
A good
but
chunk of
people have
change.
to, yeah, and people have to sign up, pay the $40, $47, whatever it is. Now going back to what you were saying about the follow-up after the summit. And so one of the things that I do too is that if I knew somebody was planning on going, like somebody I have a personal relationship with, I didn't see them there, but they did sign up for it, then I mark them as a trigger of no show, but they get a different workflow. And in that workflow, they get my recording. Not everybody's, but just mine. Like, hey, I know you wanted to be there for this, so here's this, and let's jump on a call after you watch it. Take your time, whatever, and at least reach out with any questions you have, but just another way to not let that be a dead end. And
Yeah.
that's the purpose of the follow-up is we don't want it to end. We want to continually build that relationship. And so automating that follow-up and having these in place and it's inside my system so that the next summit I go to, I can just clone that automation and bring it to the next summit, right?
So when you see, and here's a question, you got to the question before I can even ask it. I keep the same workflow, like the same second, third, fourth workflow, and I just change that front email and then but I also put the image of the event or
Right.
my image from that event. What do you do? Because branding is super duper important, right?
Right. And so I carry my branding on mine always stays consistent. Down in the body of the email, I'll have the picture of the event, the image that goes with that event. But as far as like at the top of mine, my headers, all of that always stays the same. So I literally just clone the entire automation. Now I put the automation to sleep instead, so I'm building up automations there. And then I have a special way that I mark them if they're active right then or not. But I do that because some of mine are a little bit different and I want to be able to go back and see them all the time. And I've kind of kicked myself a little bit when I couldn't go back and look at exactly what I was doing because even though like we're all in your business, you're going to talk about the same thing over and over and over. 5 different ways, 10 different ways, whatever, but the same thing over and over, right? And I want to make sure that I'm not doing it exactly the same as I did before.
Right.
Or maybe there was something that worked really well. And so I want to be able to go back and look at that. So I don't want to completely just change the automation that I have and keep changing that one because then you lose those that history of them. I want to keep the history so I can go back in and look at them.
I like that because you're when you're following up, where does this work with the stage? We've got a summit coming up. And looking at my notes here, and yeah, we got a lot of notes, you guys. This does take coordination. It's just a simple conversation, but there's a lot that to unpack in here. There's a lot that's going on where you're getting this information in these podcasts. It's so important for the outreach, and especially if you just think of in context of this summit, you're an author, you come on stage, what are you getting? And we have some workshops, this little sneak peek here. We have some workshops coming up, also to add value of how to really be how to really rock that stage as a speaker. So if you're coming in as a speaker and you take some of these workshops, you're going to learn a little bit more about what Colleen's sharing in her workshop, and you're just getting a little glance at it now, and she's going to go a little bit more in depth with you, and you get to talk to her and ask her questions in this workshop. I'm going to do a workshop on the summits and the visibility, and I'm going to add, just for these authors, some information in there about what you need to do if you're automating a workflow and you're reaching out to people. What if they didn't pay for your VIP, but you put in that workflow and that automation, that here's a little sneak peek at the chapter, but you've got a video of you reading that, or a little sliver of you talking. Maybe you're reading your chapter on the stage. So it's doing two things. It's showing that you're out there speaking. It shows that you're public. It shows that you're an author. All these social proof of what you did, and then people get a sneak peek, and then you circle back to get my book, right? So there's all these parts and pieces that come up to make you visible. It doesn't have to be difficult. Don't make it crazy. But one video, one workflow can take care of all that, and you don't have to go all these places. I was just watching Myron Golden this morning. He's big coach, and he was talking about, hey, what are you doing that's just simple enough to start? Just that simple enough to start in your business and make money. You're making money of all the stuff you have in your closet. And if you're a hoarder, or you like to save stuff and box it, what if you can make money on all that stuff that you had, right? So that's all visibility.
Yeah. And so I'm going to give you a little tip here, give everybody a little tip. Tip for the day from Colleen. Everybody is working so hard to position themselves in a place of authority in their business. They're working hard in their content, in the services and the products, and just really trying to put themselves in a position where they're seen as the authority. You want to know the tip to be the position in authority? Follow up first. Be the
Ah,
first person to follow up. Do that. Take the authority. That puts you in the authority in the relationship that you're building. That says, I'm large and in charge of my business, and this is where you fit in it.
that's so true. Damn, mic drop right there. We're done. How can you leverage that, right? How can you leverage that? How are you building authority? You're building authority through consistency. You're building authority by getting on the stage. You're getting authority by doing a podcast live. You're building authority by, calling out your own flaws so nobody else can call them out because you say, yeah, I already said it. You're building authority by touching back, by reaching back, by circling back, by clapping back, by getting back there and going, yep, here we are. I'm back here again. And you're not in their face to scream or yell at them.
Mhm.
You're just, hey, thanks for being here.
Yeah.
You got them on your list. That's why these leads lists are so important. That's why it's important. If you're going to an event, are you getting leads? By just your people might not sign up for your lead magnet. People might not sign up for your lead magnet when you put it in your email either. They might be like, ah, whatever. It's not or they have it. Maybe your group of people have it. What if you got the leads from the summit And he went, oh, do tell. Those leads are worth gold.
Yeah.
That data is worth gold. You have these leads. If you don't know how to reach back to people, I'm sorry, I haven't seen, I think I saw one, two people that I'm on their mailing list and they spoke on my stage in January. Okay, no, I'm like three people that were speakers on the stage that haven't spoken on that stage before that I heard back from, and I don't even mean personally. I just mean that I was on their newsletter. Put here's a writer downer, guys. Here's a stuff that nobody talks about. Put your summit hosts on your newsletter. Tag your summit host in your, if you can't tag because LinkedIn or Facebook has changed the way that you tag, share in the DM. Hey, I put this social post out. I want you to reply to it. Let them know because your summit host is busy, whether they got a large team or a small team. Let them know you're sharing. Let them know, hey, because there's a lot of summits that are out there that will charge, not only charge you for an event, but also penalize you for not getting 22, 32 signups. There are some people that were like, hey, you know, there's always those people that are like, hey, maybe the event could be a little bit more. Are you doing your due diligence and reaching out to people? And if you don't have a workflow and you're not talking to your audience, they're not listening that you're on the stage. So what's the point of getting on the stage? So this all works together in this beautiful thing. And this is all about follow up and engagement. And that's what we're doing with the Voice Lab. That's what we're doing when you get in here is doing the solutions lab, the learning lab. We've got workshops coming up. We've got our networking event on Mondays. We just had our first networking event after Colleen's Monday morning business foreplay. So she didn't just tease you hard. She sure came with some appetizers a little bit too and gave you a little bit more than just a taste and a tease for the rest of the week. And we've got all that listed in the Voice Lab, and you can come in there for free or you can upgrade and get on the stage and get some more visibility. But that's how we're doing it to leverage, and it all comes back to that gold nugget of those leads. So what other notes do you have here,
I
Colleen?
think it's super simple to include things in your newsletter. I think the first step is always the hardest, and people are like, I'm not sure how to follow up. I'm not sure how to promote other people in my newsletter. I'm not sure how to let people know where I'm speaking, all the things. It's only difficult the first time, right? And then once you've done it, you're like, oh, okay, I've done this before. I know what to expect. And then even if things don't go as expected, like when you come on and tech doesn't work, you just kind of get used to, hey, we're going to go with the flow on this, because you're more comfortable because you've already done it once. And so what I do in my newsletter is I have a section that says, this is where you can find me. And these will be the places where I'll be speaking or podcast I'll be on, things like that. And sometimes it's like, hey, this is where I'm networking this week. If you want to join me in networking, this is where I'll be for networking this week. And so come join me at these locations. Now, I was talking to Billy Salmons last week, and one of the things he said that really he loves doing and he does every week is he takes an entrepreneur that he's met with that week and he puts them in his next newsletter. You're like, hey, I want to highlight this person I met. Here's some facts about them. And he said that a lot of people really like that. And I think that's interesting, but also puts him in a position of authority in the fact that um, people are drawn to the fact that he shares other people, right? And so
Ooh.
they come to see that. They come to see who he's sharing. And I think that when you are confident in your business and when you see how people fit in it, then you become confident as a leader, confident enough to share others, to share where you're networking, where you're going to be on a summit, who the summit host is, who really helped you this week, what
Mhm.
master class did you take that made a difference in your business? Go share that. It doesn't draw away from your business. It positions you in authority. It positions you
It
as a
does.
leader.
It does, and I love that because with that I think of that as not only is that great that he's sharing these wonderful people and he's establishing himself as an expert. But if you go underneath it, it gets that person to go, hey, I want to work with this person.
Yeah. Well, it
This
gets
person
everybody
I
reading it to
trust.
say that.
Yep. Yep. This person I trust. They shared me, right? Because people share. How many times do you go, "Hey, join my group." It's not just to join my group, but it's going to benefit you. We don't just have a group because it's not replacing Facebook on the school calendar. It's on on the school platform, but it's also because there's benefits in there. And there's things we could share that we can't share on Facebook because we want to make it as simple as possible. I mean, we can share it on Facebook technically, but it's hard to utilize, it's hard to leverage, it's hard to work with it. We want ease of use for the audience. The other thing is it's positioning and building authority and hey, you're here. This is what we're doing. This is a way to say, hey, there's things that I share all the time, but it's because it's a value. And not always do people go, oh, I don't want to go to that meeting. Well, try once. Try once. If that person gave you that link, I mean, I did it last week. Someone that I have, a speaker that was on my stage shared some great information, and then they shared a Zoom link with me, and I thought, oh, I want to see what this is. So I just popped in. I couldn't stay for half an hour, but that's how important that is. And if that person is sharing something with you, that's a value.
And
So look at
I
that.
love that, Nicole, because here's the thing, I don't accept paid affiliations. And this is a personal preference, and I know not everybody agrees with this. I am in business to make money, in case you're wondering, but I don't accept paid affiliations, and here's why. The person behind the affiliation is always way more important to me than
Mm.
any amount of money that I'm going to get. And so when you see me lift another person, if I'm sharing their masterclass, if I'm sharing their summit, if I'm sharing anything about them, it is not paid. And it would never will be paid.
Is sharing
I'm
something with
sharing
you.
something
That's
that
a
I believe in. I'm sharing something that I've experienced and that's moved the needle in my business. And I'm sharing it with absolute confidence and faith in the person's ability to deliver the same thing to you. And so share, for sure, share, and then value the share.
yeah. Yeah. Are you valuing? Because everybody's going like, hey, this this person isn't sharing me. This person isn't referring me. This person isn't, this there's so much expectation that people have, like a 3-year-old after eating ice cream in a hot car driving 90 miles an hour for 12 hours, right? Just people want to just kind of vomit everything on you of what they need, and that goes all over the place. But what we miss when we're in that mindset is we walked right past that abundance. We walked right past that gold. We walked right past all those trees in the forest to get to the one little tree that's separated on that person's land, right? So we miss that. Are we looking at it? And people are starting to look at, oh, it's just in their it's just in their signature and their email, and they told me about that. That's so that's what's great about follow-up. There's a lot of notes that are taken. People bring their AI robots in there. They want recordings they never watch, they never look through, they didn't get it. Um, and then they're storing it just to hold it tight like a hoarder. And then they don't look at the value of the reply. So in that call, if you take the notes and you put it in the circle back on there, and you said, "Hey, I talked about a networking. Let me share that with you." When you're the person receiving that, value it. You don't know if you agreed to do it, then at least show up and say, "Hey." And there's a lot of people like, "Hey, Colleen, you do this well. Hey, if you're going to go to a networking and I invite you, I'm actually going to be there."
Let me know so I can be there to introduce you. Yeah. Yeah. Well, honestly, nobody just loves walking in a room not knowing anybody either. So if you walk in and you know somebody else is going to be there that you know, it's a little bit better. Or even be able to say, hey, Nicole invited me. That's why I'm here.
Yeah.
But I think too that sharing can be a huge part of your content strategy, right? And so whether you're sharing it in social media posts, whether you're sharing in newsletters, whether you're sharing in um, your emails that you're sending out. I don't know what you're doing, Nicole.
I
Whatever.
was trying to fix something, and I'm telling you, all that Zoom stuff is moved.
Uh, just make sure that you just keep sharing, because when you share, then people go, oh, well, she'll know where or she'll know who, because you are constantly sharing. And make sure that you're sharing things of value. I know for a while there were people that were selling courses, and the biggest takeaway on the course was, hey, there's an affiliation for it. Like, hey, I'll pay you to go promote my course, but I never took the course. And so
Mm,
I don't want to buy a course from somebody that didn't take a course.
hello. Yes.
I don't.
Yes.
I
That's a
want to know
that's
what was the
big.
value to you. So when I stand here and I say to you, look, I worked with Tawana Lowry. She was my story branding or my storytelling coach, and she was amazing. She was the best spent money that I spent out of the 40,000 I spent last year building my business. Okay. And you can believe that. You best believe that. Okay. And then when I say to you, when I got stuck in my strategy, but I knew I wanted to level up for 2026, I wasn't exactly sure on my strategy. I went and worked with Baz Porter. I worked with Baz Porter, and every single time I met with him, I walked away with value, whether it was a strategy, a tool, a clarity that came to me, the way that he shared a resource, whatever it was, every single time there was value that was brought. And it was absolutely a safe place to unpack my business and dissect it and know that I had somebody cheering on my team that was looking at it from my point of view. Okay, I don't say these things lightly. When
Hmm.
I say to you that I will not grace the stage of somebody else's summit other than Nicole's, it's because the experience was that good. I'm never going to say to you, oh, you should go do this if it's not something that I've done, tried, and tested and know and have 100% confidence in. I absolutely do, or I wouldn't be promoting it to you ever. And so share, share, share the things that are valuable to you and that have made a difference in your business. When people look at your business, they're like, how did she go from having a brick and mortar to this? They can look and they can go, oh, well, this is how. She hired a storytelling coach. She hired a business strategist. She hired this person to do a summit. This is her path, and they can see that. They can replicate it because they want to have the same leadership skills that you have. And so pave the way for them and show them as a true leader would and do it confidently, right?
100%, 100%. And there's a lot of hubbub out there from people that like, I could just do my own virtual event. I could just set up my own workflow. Someday's coming. How long have you been doing this, right? Those are the questions. Like, if you've been doing this for 5 years, I'm getting there. I know I should do it. Okay. If you know you should do it and you don't even bother coming to the table and say you know anything about it because you haven't even executed. So it's the theory. It's those people who watch crime shows, right? Like CSI Las Vegas, and have no experience in criminal investigation, have no experience with criminals, have no psychological understanding of how to read a criminal or how the criminal thinks or what's going on. You could have the theory of everything. You could read a lot of Agatha Christie or watch Agatha Christie movies, but you can't solve the crime because nobody's just handing you all the information. It has to be executed. But what I like about what you said is, it's getting back to the summits. It's like, look, I can do this myself. So if they haven't gotten past the someday, but maybe they've gotten past the someday and done a little bit, or hey, I can run the summit myself. We see a lot of people trying to do that. You can, but are you strategizing? Are you structuring? I've seen people who want to run summits and say they can do it themselves and trust in someone and not want to put any skin in the game or put any money out, and then wonder why the summit didn't work and now hold that over that person that's charging a fee. Or that those people have paid good money, 5,000, 10,000, 20,000, to have someone run a summit that they knew had zero experience in running a summit. So you're paying somebody for their experience. That's kind of a question that you want to have. You can ask 100 million questions, but if that never clicks in that conversation or the assessment, like, ooh, maybe, that's like the kid next door selling homes, right? Unless you got money to lose and maybe you know a little something to help them out or bring someone else along that has knowledge, that kid next door selling you a home is probably not going to be a good sale, right? But so coming back to the summit, that's the other thing too, is what are you leveraging? Summits in 2026, it's a digital age. What are you leveraging? You can't just come on the stage and be a motivational speaker if if there's no call to action, what do you want people to do? People want a thing to do now. We can motivate them and tell them all kinds of good and wonderful stuff, and they feel good. That's fantastic. But where's the solution? There's a lot of people screaming in the streets and on all these crazy YouTubes, banging a drum saying they want some action. Are you taking action? Are you giving a solution so people can take action? Show them, not just say, hey, Monday morning armchair quarterback, that sucks what you did.
Right.
Maybe give them a solution. Here's what I did, and that's what we're doing is really what's the pain point? Here's the solution. What are you doing with a stage? You don't have to have a product you're launching. Maybe you have a product that you want to bring attention to. But are you sharing that? Are you giving all the information for your stuff, and are you replying to the host email? So when we talk about follow-up, when we talk about coming on the stage, you have to do your due diligence. And as a speaker, are you replying to those emails? If you get if you get your schedule 2 weeks ago and you have a conversation on the phone, you get a text, and then you get an email that says, "Hey, check your time. Reply to this email that you did it," which means don't just reply because you didn't do it. Look at that time, make sure that that works so that can get listed and go public, and then wonder why, how come that's not there? How come I can't get into it? How come it doesn't have my time on the description of the page? Maybe you didn't reply and you got taken off,
And so, Nicole, I think that
right?
there's a little bit of questions about what leads have to do with the summit, because I think that many people are going and doing summits, as I did my first 3 or 4 summits, and I went and made my presentation, and then the summit was over. And anybody who reached out to get my call to action or responded to my call to action to get my lead magnet, those were my leads. And so maybe that may be 3, 5, 6 people, right? But the difference is you can get on a summit where you're given the leads. The leads, when we say you're given the leads, let's break this down to plain English. Some summit host, the leads that you get will be the people who sign up for your lead magnet, who follow your call to action and get your lead magnet. Those will be your leads. That is
Mhm.
the majority of summit hosts. Other summit hosts, like Nicole, give you the leads, which are the people who signed up to attend the summit. There's a big difference. They're not just the people who signed up for your lead magnet or followed your call to action. These are people who actually signed up for the summit. And so
Yeah.
you end up with a long list of leads. So when you're looking at doing a summit, and I went through this process when I hired Nicole, I'd already done a handful of summits and they were a flop. Um, they were a flop because I put the time and effort in, and I'm sure that I am not the only one who feels this way. I put the time and effort in to make a presentation to either present to an audience that wasn't aligned, and that is a host problem, or presented and maybe it was a rush deal, like you present, get off the stage, you present, get off the stage, you present, get off the stage. Okay, something like that, where the purpose of the summit wasn't to build relationships. And
Mm.
so you have to
Word.
interrogate, investigate your summit host. That is your responsibility. The same as you would your gynecologist, and just as deeply, right?
Yep. Oh, yeah.
Because this is their job. And your job is to make sure that they're going to deliver your expectations. Go watch their previous summits. And if they don't want you to, well, that should probably be your sign right there, right? Because
Oh,
most of these
100%.
summits are free. And so go watch their summits. Ask for a list of deliverables. Ask what's expected of you. Get all of this. Talk to people who have repeatedly spoken at their summits and get their experience, right? And then make a decision to do this. Now, when I made my decision, I also counted in numbers because Nicole wasn't, I mean, she wasn't super expensive, but there's always that factor of could I do it for less
Yeah.
myself, right?
Yeah.
And every business owner thinks that way. So I'm a numbers girl and I write the numbers down. So if Nicole charged me XYZ, and then how can I recoup some of that money? Do I get speaker fees if I have speakers that are coming on? Can I get the VIP money? Where does that go? Does that go to me? Can I bring in people who are wanting their commercial played? Is that sponsorship money coming to me? And so what do we end up with as the bottom line? And then I took that bottom line and I'm like, okay, for this bottom line, could I do the summit myself? I'm not even remotely interested, is what it came out to. But that for me also is years and years and years in business and knowing that in order for me to look good, I hire the very best and I bring them on board and I'm like, okay, let me know what I need to do for you to support you in making me look good. Go. And so Nicole said to me, okay, Colleen, you need to be here at this time, this time, this time. This is what you need to wear. This is who you're entertaining. I mean, she told me what my part was, where to be, and how to do it. And that's what I did. I let her be the brilliant leader that she is in her business. And that made me look good in my business, right? Same thing when I hired Tawana. Same thing when I hired Baz. I went and got reviews from people talking about them that had done business with them. And then I let them shine. I let them take the lead and tell me where to be in my business. And so just something to think about when you're looking at hiring somebody to do a summit, there's so much more into it. And if let's say I think I know Nicole's numbers pretty good. I think she gets about 265 hours into hosting a summit. And
Yeah.
so if at yeah, your top dollar what you're worth, do the math and see if it's worth it to hire Nicole. How
Thank
many
you.
hours would it
Yeah.
take you?
Yeah.
Because she refined the process.
It is. How many hours is it going to take you? And these people that multitask, here's the thing. Multitasking isn't a thing. You get so lost multitasking, most people do. Get so lost multitasking. They don't know what they're multitasking or how they're multitasking. And people are like, "Well, I'm working on this." I've seen so many people if you go back if you've ever gone into a website or put down a landing page together, you get interrupted, you stop, stuff's all over the place. It's like these upgrades. They haven't gone through and fully connected the links on the upgrades in the back office on the software. And that's why when like GHL had that issue, there was so much that they upgraded, but they didn't make sure that the software married with the other integrations and they didn't completely check those links. You have to go back and check that stuff. If you think you're going to do it halfway, then you wonder why people don't support you. If you start a summit and then you never go through with the summit, then you wonder why, well, people a year ago were so interested, today they're not. Well, that was a year ago, today they're not. Whatever the is. The other thing is that that's a 250 65 hours of scratch time that wasn't like I didn't put like clock in, clock out time. There's a lot of other things. Are you counting in the phone calls? Are you counting in the text messages? Are you counting in the time you missed with your family? Are you counting in the trip that you couldn't take that you didn't enjoy because you were so stressed out? Did you, as a summit host, go do stuff that you probably shouldn't have done that you didn't understand how it was done in the back? Maybe you went and played with the landing page. That doesn't mean you should take time to train on that. But do your speakers have training? Do your speakers know what's expected of them? Did they not only get an email? Do you have a summit host that's going to get on the phone with your speakers when they're like, "Hey, I never got anything," or "Hey, I never got listed on the web page. Well, here's what we're missing. Let's get on a phone call. Let's do a little training." And that's what this is about. And that's where we thought, Voice Lab podcast and all this works out because there's a few things that need to be talked about that nobody else talks about in the industry that nobody else will disclose because it's an industry secret, you know. Um, we're so but let's talk about the truth. If you're a truth teller, let's talk about not in a negative way, but in a positive way where it's a solution. Have critical conversation. What is that? But the other thing is that when you're talking to people and people are talking to you, make sure that you are listening. Make sure that you are seeing that, hey, you've got those 12 emails. Are you looking at those 12 emails and honoring that person? I think that comes with a follow-up.
Absolutely. The fun is in the follow-up, right? Build those relationships.
Yeah. Yeah, it's all about relationship. Are you listening? If you're banging the drum that you want somebody to listen to you, are you listening to them and are you honoring at least for that conversation? And that's why I have buffer time after my conversation, or I put it on a schedule to say, hey, I'm going to get back at this time. This is my time on my schedule to reach back to those people and value them. I might not, there's conversations we have that we forget about weeks down the road because maybe it was just a simple touch point and wasn't a deep conversation, but we had already honored in that reach out. And if these people come back to your network and then you're like, hey, there was something that connected, that's why you offer the other places to connect, or you have those referrals. And this is all the web of the thing. We are almost on time. Is there anything else you want to
Oh, do
think
you
that
want to drop the link to the summit information or anything? I dropped the
yeah,
school link.
oh yeah, you know what? I did put it in there, but I will make sure to put it in the school link. Yes, absolutely. So Voice Lab, I will put it in there on the LinkedIn now that everything's on there. Thanks for being with us. And hey, if you guys have questions on how we work some of this tech issue out and the things that are going on, come over to Solutions Lab, come over to Voice Lab, reach out to us. I can't find which screen it's on. Oh my.
So when we come back on Thursday for Voice Lab podcast, we're going to talk a little bit more about systems prep and back end readiness. We're going to walk through visibility, placement, and authority. And of course, always follow up conversations and conversion, because that's the fun part, is the follow up and building the relationships.
Yeah, absolutely. That's what we hope you got out of this today and every day. Yes, join us on tomorrow for Pain Point Podcast, and then Thursday we'll talk more about the funds and the follow up, and the fortune is in the follow up. All right, guys. Bye bye. Bye bye. See you later.